Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 575th battle that we've put onto our YouTube channel. Straight away you'll see that this is a Medieval 2 Total War battle. As a lot of you know, we play Rome Total War every Friday and Saturday night, but Sunday we mix things up a little bit because we play some games on Barbarian Invasion and some battles on Medieval Total War 2. So as I say, Sunday we do mix it up a little bit with those two games. We found that we've enjoyed playing both Barbarian Invasion and Medieval Total War 2, and this should be a good battle for you to watch. Let's go to single player to start off with here. We'll go to Custom Battle. Here you can see this is the map area here where you can kind of set the morning or evening or night whenever you want to play. And here is the periods, the different periods you can play here. You can play the early, the high, the late, or all. I always go for the all, so we've got full access to all the units in all of the factions there. I think that makes it more interesting. Let's say here you can choose the map. For this particular battle we're going to fight on a map called the Pavia map. This seems to be quite a popular map on Medieval Total War 2. Here we come to the actual units faction selection here, and we found that we've tried different money on here, but we find that 20,000 florins each seems to give you a balanced army of all the different factions here. So to say 20,000 florins here. Now just to say, we only play maybe 5 or 6 games of Medieval Total War 2 on a Sunday evening, and what I've been doing up to now is I've been just changing factions for every battle. Well, of course you don't get used to the factions if you do that, so what I've decided I'm going to do tonight is to just persevere with one faction. Okay, that's what I'm going to do tonight. Play all the battles with just one faction there, and to try and get used to its strengths and weaknesses rather than switch to different factions for each battle. So as I say, I think that's the latest tactic I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the Holy Roman Empire faction for tonight's battles. And just to say that the battle you're about to watch is the first battle of the evening. So this is a completely experimental army. I've never tried this faction before. Okay, but I've made a saved army here. Tried to select the best units here from my army. They've got really good cavalry selection. They've got 3 really good cavalry units, if you like, different cavalry units there. And so I've decided to get 2 cavalry from each of the good cavalry units, if you see what I mean there. So and there's just load my saved army there. And so that's my experimental, okay, that's my experimental Holy Roman Empire army there. So you've got the Pavis crossbowmen. They've got long range, do a lot of damage, good defense, so they're pretty good missile troops. As I say, you can see I've got 2 cavalry from each good cavalry. So that's the Imperial Knights there. I've got 2 Imperial Knights cavalry. I've got 2 Gothic Knights cavalry, and as you can see, I've got 2 Teutonic Knights cavalry there. So as I say, it's a very experimental. First time I've ever used these. And then you've got the dismounted Gothic infantry there. So as I say, I've got you can see the darkened areas here of the units. That's where you can only choose so many. I think you can choose 4. If you start trying to choose any more of those units, the cost becomes very prohibitive. So you can't choose a whole army of absolutely excellent infantry, because it just becomes, the cost just goes up every time you buy more after it goes dark there. So there's my experimental army there, and it'll be interesting to see how well it does. And as I say, I'm going to stick with this faction all Sunday evening just to try and find out what units are best, strengths and weaknesses. And that's what I'm going to do, rather than switch from faction to faction as I've been doing most Sundays. So here we are. I'm going to go back to the main interface here, and as I say, this should be a great battle for you to watch, and it's an interesting one as well, very intense. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so welcome to the Pavia battlefield here. Pavia seems to be quite a popular map to fight on. A lot of people like fighting on this map, and it is an interesting map. So it'll be interesting to see how well we do here. Okay, my first teammate is Amnestus. So Medieval Total War 2 player Amnestus, and he's got the Turkish faction here. A quick look at some of his units here. He's got the Janissary infantry. These guys are tough infantry, good solid infantry, these guys. And as you'll see during the course of the battle, I think those are maybe like effective against armor, big axes that they carry. And then they got their cavalry here. Now I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Is it something like Kuku? I don't know how you pronounce that, but these cavalry are some of the best cavalry in the game. Okay, they've got the lances to charge into the enemy, but when they actually get into melee, they can alt attack, and they have got effective against armor maces, and they got really good specifications. So make no mistake, the Turkish cavalry are something to be feared. There you are. You can see the banner of his missile troops there, his archers there. As I always think it's funny that we're his ally, but all we see is the banner of the units. We don't actually see them, so they're obviously hiding there. So that's Nestos there's army. He's got some fast moving missile cavalry troops there as well. As I say, missile troops in this game are very important because a heck of a lot of units are very susceptible to missile damage, so missile cavalry can be very useful. Okay, so that's Nestos' Turkish army there. Okay, and then we're going to move on to my army here. And as I say, I've got the Holy Roman Empire army, and this is the first time I've ever used this army. And like I say, I'm gonna stick with this faction all night just to try and test it out a bit. Okay, so we've got the Pavis crossbowmen. Now, as I say, these guys have got long range, they do a lot of damage, and have got really good defense. And as I say, as they load their crossbow, they turn their back on the enemy, and of course they've got this massive shields down their back to protect them from enemy shot. Remember, the rear of any unit in this game is the weakest point, so to have a solid shield on the back of your units here as they reload their crossbow really gives them a lot of protection. So, and as I say, these troops were actually used back in the day. They're real soldiers there. And then we've got the double-handed swordsman here. As I say, I've never tried this faction before, so this is all experimental for me, just to see how well these units do. There you can see I've got the dismounted Imperial Knights there. They look quite well armoured to me, and it looks to me like they're carrying effective against armor maces, so I think that's always an advantage there, to have something that's effective against armor on this game, because there are a lot of well armored troops here. And then we've got the dismounted Gothic Knights. Now these guys look really well armored there from what I can see. I don't know what you guys think, but they do look really well armored, lots of protection there, so I'm thinking that their defense is going to be quite good. Okay, and then as I say, I've got lots of cavalry, lots of different cavalry here. I've got the Imperial, you can see the Imperial Knights there. Okay, they're quite well armoured. I like the different coloured lances that they carry as well. So that's, I've got 2 units of Imperial Knights. Okay, and then I've got 2 units of Gothic Knights there. Now these guys look really well armoured to me. I don't know what you think. Once again, they're really well armoured there. Yeah, they do. I like the spikes on the horse's head as well. See the metal spikes there? I presume that you know, when they charge into the enemy, if the horses put their head down there, they could do some damage, couldn't they? So that's the Gothic Knights there. They look pretty tough. And I've got 2 cavalry units of the Teutonic Knights here as well. So that's the Teutonic Knights. As I say, 2 units of each different cavalry there. So I've got my 6 cavalry there. Also, we're playing large units. It's the first time we've played large units. Infantry have got 90 men per unit, and cavalry have got 60 men per unit. It's the first time we've done this. We usually play on normal size units. Here you can see I've got my Reiters here. I've got 1 unit of Reiters here. Fast moving missile cavalry that fire pistols, so they got effective against armor pistols there. Just have a quick look at the map here. I always thought this mound was quite interesting here. You can see it's surrounded by anti-cavalry wooden pikes there, like, you know, wooden stakes there. So I always thought that's quite an interesting thing to put on this map here, because I presume you've got to you put units there on the top there, facing that way, because that's the only access to the mound. And then if any enemy cavalry try to hit you from any other side, you're just going to die on those spikes. So that's an interesting, like, little defensive position that they've included in this map. And here you got the building there. I'm not sure what type of building that is, but it is surrounded by anti-cavalry wooden stakes again there. So if you made the mistake of running your cavalry over them during the course of the battle, make no mistake, you will lose a lot of your cavalry. It's got the potential to be a great battle, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, and here is the other team. We have Brother Member Legion 22, who has bought the Byzantine Empire. Okay, Byzantine Empire, pretty tough faction there. let's say he's got a lot of missile troops here, Byzantine Guard archers. Okay, as I say, missile troops very important here. I think he's got I think he's got six of those archer units there, because he knows how much damage archer units can do. And then he's got his Byzantine spearmen there. Remember, these any spear units are anti-cavalry, so he's got anti-cavalry unit, and then he's got his major heavy infantry at the rear there. Okay, so that's a pretty good thought out army there. Say a lot of missiles, plus he's got fast moving missile cavalry troops as well. So let's say with a 6-foot archers he's got, plus those 2 fast moving units, he's got 8 missile troops there, plus his cavalry at the back there. So it'll be interesting to see how well Legion does with the Byzantine Empire. Don't forget, him and me are both very new to this game, so we're kind of like the noobs. And then we've got King member Pym. Okay, now Pym used to play on Rome Total War. The King's clan was a very big clan on Rome Total War many years ago. A lot of you probably haven't heard of them. They haven't been around for a long time, but King Pym went on to Medieval Total War 2 here. I think he mostly plays campaign, but you can see he's got his adventurer crossbowman at the front of his army there. Then he's got a line of infantry there. You can see he's got his dismounted knights there, and then he's got his Scots archers here, the Scots Guard missile troops. Now make no mistake, these are well armoured archers. They do a lot of damage, long distance shooting, and good defence. So once again, as you see, he's bought a lot of missile troops. As I say, I think he mostly plays multiplayer, but he's got a feel for the game. That's why he knows to bring so many missile troops. He's got good infantry there. I see that's he's got dismounted Chevalier infantry there, very well armoured, good quality infantry there, and he's got his cavalry as well, and these are the noble knights there. Good specifications, all round specifications. These guys are pretty tough. So that's his army there. So it's France and the Byzantine Empire against Turkey and the Holy Roman Empire. Should be a great battle for you to watch. Okay, right at the very beginning of the battle here, we haven't even formed up yet. You can see that AM Nestos is moving his fast moving horse archers here forward there to target the enemy troops. As I say, missile troops in this game seem to be very important, because as I say, most missile troops here are effective against armour, so they can do a lot of damage to enemy troops. As I say, you can see the Turkish horse archers there riding over towards a Byzantine army of Legion there. So as you can see, they're going to be shooting a lot of arrows into Legion's infantry there. And as I say, the fast moving horse archers in this game can do a heck of a lot of damage to your troops, and unless you've got like fast cavalry units to chase them down, or you've got good missile troops to shoot them there, they are very difficult to kind of get rid of. You can see them there shooting their arrows into Legion's units. As I say, this is the first time we've played with large units in this game. So infantry have got 90, let's say the infantry have got 90 men in per unit, and the cavalry have got 60 men. But some of the units are bigger than that. Some of the men have got 112 men units in, and that's a lot, I think, for spearmen and things like that. We've got 112 men. So as I say, this is the first time that we've actually played with large units. It's usually just normal unit size that we play with, but today I hosted for this particular battle on large units. There you can see my Pavis crossbowmen here are managing to target this Byzantine spear unit here, and already you can see that this unit has already taken a lot of casualties from my archers. You'll find that archers in this game seem to have a heck of a lot of ammunition as well. They seem to have be able to fire arrows nearly all the way through the battle. That's how much ammunition that they've got. But as I say, you can see this Byzantine spear unit of Legion 22, they're suffering a lot of casualties from my Pavis crossbowmen there. As I say, you can see them there, how they reload. They turn their back on the enemy as they reload, but of course that massive shield they've got on their back protects them from enemy shot. And as I say, these are real Pavis crossbowmen from back in the day, and this is exactly what they used to do, is have those big shields on their back to be able to turn to reload, where their rear was then protected by from enemy arrows there. You can see Legion 22 has got his fast moving horse archers over here as well. Wouldn't surprise me if you put them into Canterbury Circle, or they call them shooting circles on here. Of course, on Rome Total War we called them Canterbury Circles, but on here they're just called shooting circles. And as you can see here, Legion's got his units in the shooting circle there. Okay, you can see that Amnestos has brought his fast-moving horse archers over from the other flank here to try and neutralise Legion 22's horse archers. So that's a nice bit of cover, nice bit of teamwork there by Amnestos, bringing his fast-moving archers over here, horse archers over here to try and cover these guys. As you can see, they go around in these shooting circles, and the volume of arrows they can shoot is like a machine gun almost. But as I say, Amnestos has brought his horse archers over here as well now to cover the to neutralise these horse archers of Legion 22. I say I've got my Reiters there. I think that's what they're called. They're horse missile troops, but they actually have got pistols, so they fire effective against armor pistol balls into the enemy. As I say here, you can see the enemy here moving forward there with their missile troops. There's the adventurer crossbowmen. As you can see, they're very well armoured. They've got good range, they do a lot of damage. As I say, the crossbow bolts are all effective against armour, so they can cause a heck of a lot of casualties. And as I say, you can see that both PIM and Legion 22 have brought their archers forward here to be in range of our archers. As I say, there's going to be a little bit of an archer battle, I think, now. As I say, we've got our Turkish ally here with his Ottoman infantry missile troops there shooting into the enemy, and of course, as I say, we've got my Pavis crossbowmen there. As I say, I think it's so cool as you see them turn and load their crossbows. I just think it's good. You can see a lot of them getting hit by shots there, but they're very well armoured, so you don't seem to suffer that many casualties because of how well armoured they are. Let's say, there you go, let's see, they turn their back to the enemy with a shield protecting them, cock their crossbow. You can see them get the crossbow bolt, fit it into the crossbow, stand up, aim and shoot. I just think that's so cool as they do that. But as I say, there's a heck of a lot of missile troops on the other team there, and they're all in range of our missile troops, so there's a chance we could lose a lot of our troops. Just look at the volume of enemy missile troops there. Plus he's got infantry there in amongst his archers there to protect them from any attack that we might want to throw in. But as I say, we are up against a heck of a lot of missile troops here. As I say, stood up on this hill here, look, they are above us, so they've got extra range and do more damage to our troops. But as I say, my Pavis crossbowmen are so well armoured, they seem to suffer few casualties, even though most of the missiles that the enemy are firing are effective against armour. Okay, so there's the Byzantine archers there of Legion 22. As you can see, he's got them at the front of his allies' French army there. And as I say, this is the first battle we fought with large units, as I said before there, so it'll be interesting to see how different the game is fighting with large units. There you are, there's my Pavis crossbowmen, look, just reloaded their crossbow, stood up, aim, shoot into the enemy there. They're effective against armour crossbow bolts. As you can see there, the French general Pim has brought a line of infantry up there. Can you see he's brought a line of infantry up in front of his archers there? Now that tells me that he may be well looking to attack us there. The way he's brought those infantry units up there, it wouldn't surprise me if he did throw in an attack from that particular position. But as I say, both sides here have got a lot of missile troops here, so there will be quite a big missile battle going on here between the two armies. But as I say, the way that Pim here has positioned his infantry at the front of those archers there, as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if he did throw in an attack here against the forward units of our armies. As I say, just look at the casualties here of one of, just pause again for a second, one of Legion 22. Now this was a 90-man unit reduced to 13. That's how many casualties we managed to cause this archer unit with our archers. So that's, as you can see there, we have caused them a lot. Now I'm not sure whether these Byzantine guard archers have got effective against armour arrows or whether they're just ordinary arrows. I'm not quite sure because I've never played with that faction. But as I say, my Pavis crossbowmen haven't suffered a lot of casualties here. This one unit we saw earlier, it's been reduced from I think the spear unit was 112 men, been reduced down to what, about 30 now, from just archer fire. And as I say, in this game, the archers, crossbowmen, etc., do seem to get a lot of ammunition. So as I say, there are big archer battles going on here, and let's say both teams have bought a lot of missile troops here. As I say, my Pavis crossbowmen here, they're so well armoured that they do seem to suffer a lot less casualties than other archer units that I've used in the past. But remember, this is the first time I've ever used this faction, so as I say, I'm going to stick with this faction all night, just to try and get used to the faction, try and see what the strengths and weaknesses are, and like have little tweaks on the army. Right, okay, as we thought here, King's Pym here is going to attack with his French infantry there, against my archer units there, and into the forward units of my infantry. Okay, so as we saw earlier, as he positioned his infantry, we thought he may well attack. So here comes the first wave of his infantry in there. Now my archers are all on skirmish mode, so they should run away. If you notice now, I'm taking my infantry forward now to engage the French troops. And notice I'm going to attack down that slope onto the French troops there, so I've got a slight advantage. So it'll be interesting to see how well my infantry does against this French infantry here. Okay, you can see one of the French infantry units has flanked me on this side, coming around the flank there. Let's just pause the game for a second here. So, as I say here, I've got my general at the rear there. Now, just to show you, my army has got the black banners there with like the golden eagle on them. I think that's a golden eagle there. And my ally has got the green Turkish flag. Okay, so our army is the black banner and the green banner. Okay, so just at a glance you'll know that that's our team. And the enemy are the blue, we use the blue and white banner and the pink or purple banner there. Okay, so the blue and white and pink and purple banner are the enemy, and the black banner and the green banner is our team. So it's just because some people say they find it difficult to differentiate between the factions in this game. So I think with a 2v2, so if you just remember that my banners are the black banners with the kind of eagle on, and the green banner is my ally. So we're the black banner and the green banner, and the blue and white and the purple banners are the enemies. Okay, so just at a glance there, you can you'll be able to tell who is who here. As you can see, my infantry seems to be holding okay on this slope against that attack from the French infantry. But as you can see there, a lot of enemy troops are now moving forward from that hill position that they were on. As you can see here, I can see Legion 22's Byzantine Empire infantry moving forward. They're moving their missile troops forward to be able to do more damage, more impact there. Okay, so as I say, you can see Legion 22's pink Byzantine army moving forward there into our allies' green Turkish army there. Okay, so I've got my cavalry over here locked and loaded there, charging into that one French infantry unit there. Well, with all my cavalry charged in there, I would think that unit's going to rout, which it's just done. Okay, so as I say, I've got all this different cavalry that I've bought, so it'll be interesting to see how well they do. You can see here those horse archers of Legion have come over here to start shooting arrows into my cavalry. So I'm going to move my cavalry back a little bit. Some more heavy cavalry moved in there as well. So it's a little bit of a tussle. Let's just pause the game for a second here. So as I say, it's a little bit of a tussle here between the enemy cavalry and my cavalry, but not a full-scale battle as yet. But over here you can see my infantry seems to have beaten back most of the infantry that was attacking me there, but there's a heck of a lot of missile troops that are shooting into us. As I say, my Turkish ally here is now fighting both French infantry and Byzantine Empire infantry as well, so I'll be moving my infantry over to help him. But over on our right flank here, you can see that the French general has charged his cavalry into our Turkish allies' cavalry here. Okay, now make no mistake, this is a real tussle here, and whoever wins this particular part of the battle here with all that cavalry could well go on to win the battle. Now just draw your attention here, can you see our Turkish allies cavalry? He's alt-attacked, is using effective against armor maces. Okay, so that's very important, effective against armor maces, and the French cavalry are just using swords. Okay, so the French cavalry won't be effective against armor, they're just using swords, but the Turkish cavalry will be using their effective against armor maces. Now that could well make a difference here in this cavalry battle, but as I say, this could prove pivotal and decisive here in the battle, whoever wins here, because as I say, whoever wins here have got all their cavalry left that could get in behind the enemy troops and attack them from the rear here. So that's very important here. You can see that Pim is bringing infantry over here as well. You can say Nestos is trying to counter that with a spear unit. But as I say here, Nestos' Turkish troops, let's pause again for a second here, is fighting the French troops, and you can see the Byzantine Empire troops moving in on him as well. There you are. And they may well try and flank him. As I say, they may well try and get in behind him here, maybe, possibly, is what they're going to do. That's possibly what they're thinking of there. So I'm going to move my Holy Roman Empire troops into the flank of those enemy troops there, support my ally, smash in there. And as I say, I've got my cavalry here. As I say, I've never fought with this faction before, so it's all experimental for me. And as I say, it's the first time that we've used large units rather than the normal size units there. So it'll be interesting to see if that makes any difference during the course of the battle. Okay, so as I say, you can see me move my infantry now over towards my ally here to support him against the Byzantine infantry and the French infantry there. You can see I'm moving my troops in there. But all the time I'm moving my troops, the enemy, let's just pause again, all the time moving my troops over there, I'm being hit by enemy archer fire. There's a heck of a lot of enemy archers that are shooting into the flank of my troops as I'm moving over to help my ally. So make no mistake, I will be losing a lot of men there as I move over to try and help my ally there. But meanwhile, over there on our right flank, our Turkish allies with his cavalry are fighting the French cavalry there. But I got a feeling that there's a lot of French infantry being involved in this fight as well. Sorry, Byzantine Empire infantry there moving over. And if you notice, their spear troops, they're going to be anti-cavalry. And he's bringing them into the fray there to help his ally, his French ally there, against our Turkish allies' cavalry. Okay, so our Turkish allies got a lot on his plate over there fighting infantry and cavalry. Here you can see some Byzantine cavalry have charged into the forward units of my infantry, and you can see the dead cavalry in front of them there where they held quite well. But here you can see my cavalry is now fighting with that enemy cavalry, and bang, as that enemy cavalry smashes in to my cavalry there now. So my cavalry now is up against the Byzantine Empire cavalry there. So it'll be interesting to see how if you notice, my cavalry have got maces. I've auto-attacked them, so they've got effective against armor maces there. And it'll be interesting to see if the cavalry of the Byzantine Empire has got effective against armor maces as well. But I can see infantry being thrown into this as well. I see, let's just pause again for a second here. So I've got all my cavalry there. Remember, my cavalry are the black banner with the yellow kind of eagle on, and the enemy are the purple or pink in this particular part of the battlefield. I've got my infantry here engaging both French and Byzantine Empire troops here, along with my Turkish ally. Okay, so you can see the enemy really pushing in us there, but don't forget all those missile troops there are shooting into us all the time from an elevated position for more impact, more damage from that elevated position. And over here, can you see our Turkish ally is fighting really well with his really elite cavalry, but he's got infantry and cavalry coming in on here. It might be a good tactical move here for him to move his cavalry out the way, because he's going to be in a vice attack there between enemy infantry and enemy cavalry if he's not careful. So as I say, retreating his cavalry might well be a good move here, because as I say, the Byzantine Empire general has brought anti-cavalry spear units in here to attack our Turkish allies' cavalry. Okay, so that's a good move there for our Turkish ally to move his cavalry out the way there. I think that's a good tactical move. Let's say here you can see the pink banners of the Byzantine Empire and the blue and white banners of France attacking us aggressively here. Let's say you can see my cavalry here engaging with Byzantine Empire cavalry and infantry there. So remember, that's Legion's army, the Byzantine Empire there. And as I say, we're having a good tussle with them there. As I say, my cavalry, I think they all carry maces when you auto-attack them, so they're all using effective against armor maces here against Legion's army. And as I say, my infantry's not doing too bad there in coordination with my Turkish ally there. Right, you can see our Turkish allies charging what's left of his cavalry into the enemy missiles. He knows that the damage that those missile troops have been causing us all the way through the battle. Here comes some more of Legion's troops over from the other flank to charge into us here. So as I say, there's a lot of enemy troops engaging us here on this little slope. And there's a nice little cavalry charge there by Nestos there into the rear of those enemy troops. Let's just pause the game for a second here. So you can see my cavalry, and I think I've got one infantry unit here. I'm fighting both infantry and cavalry here. I see he's alt-attacked with some of his archer units here against my cavalry and an infantry unit. Here on the slope you can see my troops are holding well. I think most of my allies' Turkish infantry looks to me like they've been taken out. I can't see. Can you see a Turkish unit still fighting there, or does it look like they've all been taken out? From what I can see, his cavalry is still there. His very battle damaged cavalry units are still there, but I can't see if he's got any infantry units there at all. As I say, there's a close-up of my troops there fighting the Byzantine Empire infantry, Legion's infantry there. But as I say, you can see my cavalry and I think one infantry unit there doing really well against Legion's infantry and cavalry. As I say, it looks like Legion alt-attacked a couple of his cavalry units there. Alt-attacked a couple of his archer units there to charge into my cavalry. Nice little hit there from Nestos' cavalry there, charging into the rear of those Legion's infantry there. Nice hit. As I say, if you look here, over here, you can see that the enemy seems to have a lot of troops here on this slope that up against our number of troops that we've got left. As I say, my infantry seems to be doing quite well here against those French and Byzantine Empire infantry. But it'll be interesting to see. There's some more reinforcements of enemy infantry coming in there. And as I say, I've got infantry and cavalry now fighting those Byzantine Empire infantry and alt-attack archers there. So remember, my troops are the black banner with the kind of golden eagle on, and my allies are the green banner, the Turkish green banner, okay? But everything else is enemy. The pink banners there are the Byzantine Empire of Legion 22, and of course the blue and white banners are Pym's French troops there. Okay, so you can see at a glance there exactly what's going on. And as I say here, I can see most of my cavalry to me look like they're dead now. I don't think I've hardly got any cavalry left. They've been fighting for a long time there. And look at the enemy starting to engulf my troops there. Could you see how many of those purple banners were around my troops? But here it looks like we're managing to hold our own here on this little slope against these guys. And there's a couple of Turkish infantry units still fighting there. We couldn't see them earlier. You can see some more French reinforcements coming into the fray here. As I say, this is going to be a very close battle. Obviously I won't tell you which way it's going to go, but let me just say this is going to go right down to the wire. And as I say, I think I've got one man left and one cavalry unit left. I don't think I've already got any other cavalry left. Right, let's pause again for a second here. So as I say, here we've routed a heck of a lot of enemy troops there that were attacking us. So well done with them. But look at all the enemy missile troops there and rallied infantry units there ready to come into the fray. As I say, cavalry wise, I've only got a few cavalry left in a couple of units there. The rest are dead. And here you can see, look at the enemy purple and blue and white banners here. You can see the numbers that they've got here against our troops. As I say, really fierce hand-to-hand fighting there going on. You can see some French cavalry smashed in behind us there. Only a couple of units there. There's some more Turkish, he's alt-attacked with some of his archers there, I think. But there's a heck of a lot of, I see French troops coming in behind us as well. As I say, I've moved some of my infantry over and cavalry over to the little slope here to help us try and hold the slope. I can see a lot of enemy troops moving in on us here as well. As I say, make no mistake, this is going to go right down to the wire, this battle. Remember, the enemy have got a heck of a lot of troops there up on that slope, shooting arrows into us, but they can be alt-attacked. Remember, archers in this game are very tough. When you alt-attack them, they are like light infantry. They are really tough and well armoured too. So as I say here, look, you can see that it looks like our team has routed most of the enemy troops here. It just looks like maybe missile troops left there. So I think, but that's basically all I've got left there, is what you can see. infantry wise. I think all my cavalry is basically dead now, and that's all the infantry that I've got left. Okay, now make no mistake, the enemy archers will be shooting loads of arrows into me as I'm moving forward here, but it just looks to me like if we just attack the troops that are left here of the enemy, then we should be able to go on and win the battle here. Okay, but you can see the enemy troops attacking there. As I say, I've got no cavalry left, so it's just very, very battle damaged infantry that I'm going to throw into the fray here. I'm not sure if my Turkish ally have got any units left. I can't see any Turkish units left here at this time, and you can see that the enemy now have auto-attack. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So you can see the enemy has auto-attacked with all his archers. He's still got some infantry units there that he's thrown in as well against what's left of my units. You've got more French units coming in behind me here. Look, been auto-attacked, going to come in behind me. Here you can see them coming in. They're going to attack there and bang as they charge in there. So as you can see, my Holy Roman Empire troops are being surrounded by French troops there. I think all the Byzantine Empire troops have been taken out. I think we've taken out all of Legion's troops there. So it's a France against what we've got left here. Okay, now can you see here our Turkish ally here bringing in very tired troops into the fray here. Now we've talked about this before. Very tired troops, their morale's low, their battle proficiency is extremely low, but look at my crossbowmen here. Can you see they're exhausted? Okay, so my crossbowmen I'm bringing into the fray here, I'm going to auto-attack with them because that's all I got left, but they're exhausted. And of course, when troops are exhausted, their morale drops like a stone, their battle proficiency drops like a stone, and make no mistake, these guys are ready to rout. Even though there's quite a few of them left in their unit, because they're exhausted, because their morale is so low, there's a chance they could rout. But we'll just have to wait and see here. As I say, it looks like, looking at the banners there, that I've got a lot more troops in them, but if I've got exhausted troops going up against fresh or warmed up troops here, see, I see some of the French troops are fresh, so they're going to be at the top of their game, and you can see my exhausted crossbowmen there have auto-attacked, but make no mistake, they're in no condition to fight. They're absolutely exhausted. As I say, their morale will be rock bottom. Their battle proficiency will be rock bottom, and they are just ready, ripe to rout. And if they rout, that would be the end of the game. As I say, the French troops are, I notice, are fresh or just maybe winded against my exhausted troops. My Turkish allies got a couple of units there fighting, but you can see a lot of my units here, a lot of my exhausted crossbowmen are starting to rout. I've got one infantry unit left there. And can you see the French general surge forward with his infantry? Did you see him surge forward with his infantry there? He's routed the last of my units there. There's some more French troops coming into the fray here. Look, they're going to charge in there. It's only our Turkish ally. He's got, there we are. And that's the last of our units have now been routed. So well done to the other team there. Let's pause the game for a second. Well done to the other team who have gone on to win the battle there. Really well done to King's Pym and Brotherhood member Legion 22 has beaten our armies there. So really well played to them. And as I say, that's the first time we've used large units. I quite like using the large units. But if we look over the battlefield here, you can see the dead. As I say, look at all these archers that we shot and killed over here. You can see loads and loads of the archers that we've shot dead over here. So our archers, I think, did really well. If we look over at different parts of the battlefield, remember this massive cavalry battle over here between our Turkish ally and the French there with their cavalry, and the Byzantine Empire and French and the general there brought in infantry as well against our Turkish cavalry there. And as I say, there's that little slope that we fought on, and I thought the enemy has done well there to attack kind of up that slope, which is what they've done. And they've done well to go on to win the battle there. As I say, at the end of the battle there, you can see that my crossbowmen were absolutely exhausted, so I was expecting them to rout, and that's exactly what they did. As I say, if you look over the battlefield here, you can see this is where my cavalry and I think an infantry unit there were fighting those enemy cavalry there. So I say for a 2v2, it's quite spread out, but with you can see the intense part of the battlefield where the most dead were lying there. So let's say well done to to the enemy team there. So as I say, just like to say, really well played to everybody in the game there. Everybody played well, and as you can see, it was a close defeat. Okay, it looks like the highest kills in the game went to my Holy Roman Empire army there. So I was quite pleased with the way the army performed. As I say, it's the first time I've ever used that faction. So learning the strengths and weaknesses of that faction, I'm going to be playing with that faction all evening. And as I say, it was the first battle we played in the evening. And well done to King Pym with his French army. Got the second highest kills there. So really well done to him as well. So well done Legion 22 with the Byzantine Empire. That's the first time I think he's ever bought that faction. Got some good kills with them. So well done for him. And as I say, well done with King Pym there with his French army. Got some really good kills there, so really well played, guys. As I say, my Holy Roman Empire army, it's the first time I've ever used it, and I was quite pleased with the way it performed. And well done to AM Nestos there with his Turkish army. He did well there. Quick look at the battle statistics, if you like. As you notice here, the Pavis crossbowmen did very well. Look at the casualties that they caused there. As I say, long range, good defense. So they've done well. Infantry wise, I don't think my infantry did very good. Or the knights, sorry, that's the knights there. I don't think they did very good. And if we have a look at the infantry kills, I don't think the infantry kills are very good either. So as I say, I don't think the infantry looked that great in this particular faction. The cavalry did okay. So yeah, so just say I hope you enjoyed this battle. As I say, it's the first time we've ever used large units in a battle there, and that was the first battle of the evening. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye for now.